A popular food vendor named Amara lived in the village of Bama. Amara was a beautiful woman who was well known in the village for her delicious and flavorful meals. She owned a food store at the village market, where she took great pride in her cooking, always striving to be the best cook in the entire village. Everyone praised how tasty Amara's food was, and she had customers flocking from every corner of the village, including women, children, and especially married men. But there was a secret about Amara's food. Whenever a married man tasted her meals, he would no longer want to eat his wife's cooking at home. Every day, these men gathered at Amara's restaurant to eat her food, and soon almost all the married men in the village preferred Amara's meals over their wives. When their wives served them food at home, they would often refuse, saying, "This food is not as delicious as Amara's. You need to learn how to cook like her, because I cannot eat this when Amara's restaurant is open." This behavior started causing misunderstandings in many households. The men even went as far as telling their wives to go to Amara and learn how to cook from her. They were curious about how she made her meals so tasty and delicious. The wives of these married men could no longer take it and decided to have a meeting to figure out how to win their husbands back and make them start eating their meals again. As they gathered in the village streets, they began to ask each other for ideas. One woman suggested, "Maybe we should go and find out what Amara uses in her meals that makes our husbands stop eating from us." Another woman speculated that Amara might have a secret ingredient and they should spy on her. After deliberating for a while, they decided that spying wasn't the solution. Instead, they would go to Amara's restaurant and humbly beg her to stop serving their husbands whenever they visited her restaurant. They all agreed to approach Amara, and so they headed to her restaurant to speak with her. And when they arrived, one of the women began, "Amara, we are here to beg you. We know you are an excellent cook, the best in the village. We are not doubting that. But please, we ask that you stop serving our husbands your meals. Whenever they come to your restaurant, can you direct them back home to eat our food instead? Our husbands no longer eat from us, and it is affecting our marriages. We've come to you as women to ask for your help in this situation." Amara responded, "What do you mean by that? Are you asking me to chase away my customers so your husbands can eat at home? Am I the one who told you not to learn how to cook? Did I drag your husbands to my restaurant? Please, if you don't have anything meaningful to say, leave my restaurant. I am a very busy person." The women continued to plead with Amara, but she chased them away, telling them to find a way to keep their husbands at home and not disturb her again. The woman left Amara's restaurant, feeling frustrated and disappointed. They were helpless and didn't know what to do, so they all went back home, hoping that one day the secret to Amara's meals would be revealed and their husbands would return to them. Meanwhile, Amara's business continued to thrive, with more and more customers coming in and out. It got to the point where almost all the men in the village gathered at her restaurant every day. One particular married woman named Adana, whose marriage was not even 6 months old, started having issues at home. Her husband, from the very first day he tasted Amara's food, no longer ate her meals. Adana was baffled and decided to visit her father in a neighboring village to tell him everything that had been happening. She thought to herself, "I cannot take this anymore. My marriage isn't even 6 months old, and my husband no longer eats my food. I'll talk to my father for help." The thing about Adana's father is that he was a spiritualist with the power to foresee things. So, Adana set out to the neighboring village to speak with him. When she arrived, she said to her father, "Papa, your daughter is not happy. My husband no longer eats my food. There's a popular food vendor in the village of Nwanze that my husband now prefers, and it's causing problems in my marriage. Papa, please help your daughter." Chimamanda's father immediately set to work. He consulted his oracle and saw that Amara was a strong case to handle. He decided to visit the restaurant himself. Chimamanda's father arrived at Amara's restaurant, and as soon as their eyes met, he knew that Amara recognized who he was. Amara greeted him with a smile and said, "Ah, Papa, you are welcome to my restaurant. You've arrived just in time for a special treat. My food is the most delicious in the village." Amara held out a steaming bowl of her famous dish, and Chimamanda's father felt his stomach growl in anticipation. The aroma was intoxicating, but he knew better than to accept her offer. Chimamanda's father said to her, "You are Amara, right? I need to speak with you." Amara responded with a smile, Of course, Papa. I'm always happy to help. But first, let me offer you a bowl of my delicious food. Once you taste it, you will never be the same again. But Chimamanda's father replied, The main reason I am here is for you to confess, Amara. You know what you have been doing in this village, and I am here to ensure your secret is exposed. If you don't confess, you will regret it. Amara suddenly became defensive and said, Papa, I don't know what you're talking about. In this restaurant, all we do is sell delicious food. I'm sure you've heard about me by now, so I don't understand these accusations. If you want to eat, please eat. If not, don't spoil my business. Just get up and leave. Chimamanda's father responded firmly, Amara, I am warning you for the last time. You are causing so much pain in marriages through your food. Men no longer eat their wives' meals. Confess now, before I make this an open case. Amara retorted, You're just being paranoid, old man. What is all this talk about me holding on to other people's husbands? Am I the one who told their wives not to know how to cook? I don't know what you're talking about. Seeing how stubborn Amara was, Chimamanda's father decided to perform a silent incantation to compel her to confess. As soon as he touched her, Amara began screaming and shouting, I'm sorry, yes, I will confess. I have been using my menstrual flow in my meals to make all the married men in the village crave only my food. Amara continued to narrate her story, explaining that long ago, she was a woman in her late 40s, desperately searching for a husband. All the suitors who came to her turned her down because of her size. The most painful moment came when a suitor who had initially shown interest suddenly chose a slim girl from the crowd instead. The villagers mocked her, saying she was cursed and would never find a husband who would love her. In her frustration and pain, Amara visited a spiritualist who instructed her to use her menstrual flow in the food she cooked. The spiritualist told her that any married man who tasted her food would never want to eat his wife's cooking again. That's how Amara began using her menstrual flow as a secret ingredient, leading to most of the married men in Nwanze preferring her meals over their wives. After confessing, Amara pleaded with the villagers to forgive her, explaining that she was frustrated and hurt, which drove her to commit such evil acts. The villagers were furious and chased Amara away, threatening to burn her if she ever stepped foot in Nwanze again. Amara was banished from the village, and that was how the secret of her meals was exposed. The moral of this story is to be cautious about what we eat and where we eat, especially if we are uncertain about the source of the meal. Additionally, we should never repay evil with evil, no matter how much pain or frustration we feel. Everything in life has its time, and we should always wait for God's appointed time. Fighting back with evil only leads to more suffering. Thank you so much for watching this story. I hope you found it entertaining. Please, if you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe to my channel. It's a way of supporting me and helping me grow. Turn on the notification so you can see more interesting stories when I post them. See you in my next video. Bye bye.